Salutations and welcome back to Let's Play Tales of Phantasia. This is Edgar. In the previous installment, we froze our balls off, but came out of things with the Vorpal Sword and the Tidal Wave spell for Archie. We now have all three legendary weapons, so the next bit of business on our agenda is to combine the three into the alleged Eternal Sword. We have learned that Origin will be able to do this, so this warrants a trip back through the Elven Forest, all the way to the Heimdall Stone. I will wholly bottle my way there and will have Tom edit out all of the footage to save some time, because we have rather a lot of stuff that we need to get done in this installment. Do bear in mind that while Archie will show up and return to the party just before a boss encounter, you will not have her spells at your service for the boss, as you are not given a chance to reselect your party members. So, we will have to fight Origin before he will combine the weapons into the Eternal Sword. Origin can be a tricky boss. Not only does he come with yet another umpteen clone, he has the Indignation spell, as well as a non-elemental full-screen ability called Forge of the Cosmos. He's also a real bastard to melee, so if you have Chester leveled up, you'll do much better against Origin. Origin is also unique, in that he is the only enemy in the game that can actually absorb Maxwell, so for Clav, you want to be summoning Volt for this fight. As for Kless, Gale Shield will serve you well against Origin, as he floats, making it a simple matter to force Origin to the corner using our working as intended ability. You can equip any sword on Kless for this fight except for the laser blade, as Origin absorbs the light and dark elements. By the way, while fighting my way to the Heimdall Stone, Mint picked up her final spell, a full-screen heal called Resurrection. You will likely see it in action in the fight with Origin. In order to fight Origin, simply walk up to the Heimdall Stone. Archie and Origin will both show up momentarily, and you will have to fight the latter. Save your game first, just in case something goes horribly wrong in the battle. And now, we fight the ancient king of the dwarfs. Best of luck. Upon defeating Origin, several things will happen all at once. For starters, Origin will drop a question mark bow. This question mark bow will transform into a very powerful shadow elemental weapon for Chester, but the next boss absorbs that element, so we are not going to bother with it for the moment. In addition to receiving the question mark bow, Origin will not only combine the 3 legendary weapons into the Eternal Sword, Claf will request a contract since we just bested Origin in battle and them's the rules. Origin is reluctant, but in spite of his better judgment about our party's haste for vengeance, he will also agree to contract with Claf through the diamond ring itself, which you will not lose as the Eternal Sword is forged. First, Origin will forge the Eternal Sword. Say goodbye to the Flame Burge and the Vorpal, they will be destroyed in the process. We now have the Eternal Sword. We can use it to lock chaos into this time period and vanquish the bastard once and for all. The Eternal Sword is quite powerful, and is in fact the strongest non-elemental weapon for Klus in the entire game, so we will be paying a visit to the Coliseum with this thing a bit later. Klus will also learn 3 skills upon collecting the Eternal Sword. I will cover these abilities in a moment, but first, it's time to put some more boom boom in Claf's bling bling. And that's some more boom boom for Claf's bling bling. Origin will smash the entire screen for extreme non-elemental damage. If you skip the bonus dungeon, he is your strongest full screen summon, but the bonus dungeon has a stronger one. At any rate, our business here is done. The party will elect to pay Runglum a visit, so I will once again have Tom edit out the travel time, because there is still quite a lot of stuff we need to get done. In fact, I don't even have to bother asking him to do that, the game will take you to Alvanista automatically. So the next location on our itinerary is Ari. Before we bugger off to Ari, let's sort out the new stuff. First off, make sure Origin is ready to go, because sadly Maxwell will do shit all damage to the next boss. That's it for Claf, but the stuff Klus collected is a lot more in depth. First of all, if you had either the Flame Burge or the Vorpal Sword equipped, Klus will have no weapon after Origin has done his business, so throw the Eternal Sword on immediately. As I said, it's a rather powerful weapon in its own right, and it's non-elemental to boot, making it arguably the best weapon to step into the Coliseum with. As for the skills he learned, Teleport can be placed into either a short or long-range slot. Teleport is very powerful, but against certain enemies it is very good at getting you killed. You'll want to master it quickly, as Teleport and Soul Wave are used for one of the double arts we just learned, specifically Soul Strike. We also learned Soul Forge, which is a combination of Soul Edge and Soul Wave, and Soul Forge is absolutely incredible, being the strongest double art in the game, but it costs a hell of a lot of mana. I have already mastered Soul Wave, so Teleport and Soul Edge are next. I need to stop being lazy and master Magma Rift at some point as well. Now, let's head to Ari. See you outside Alvanista. When we arrive in Ari, the party will comment about how bloody cold it is, and will suggest staying at the inn. When you stay at the inn, a rather extensive but beautiful scene will take place. As for Ari itself, just head to the dark island covered in snow. You should remember where it is. Just head to the inn and stay the night to advance the plot. That was quite the extensive bit of plot. Now that it's over, you will regain control of your party, and if you check Mint's accessories, you will discover that a new one has appeared in her inventory. The earrings she has been carting around for most of the game can now be equipped, and this is not up for debate. You want to pick this accessory, and either a fairy ring or a mystical rune. The mana earring will not only raise all of her stats just like the diamond ring does for Claf, it will also boost the potency of all of her healing spells by about a third. Given that it has this effect, I really have to wonder why she didn't just stick the damn thing in her ear when she nicked it from Kless, but let us let bygones be bygones. Now, as you attempt to leave the inn, a soldier will appear, and he will inform you that Chaos is somewhere on this island before he takes his leave. Do you remember that cave to the west, where the soldier would not allow us to pass by? The soldier will now grant us access, and that cave will lead to the final dungeon. The game will also mention that you have the mana earring at this point. Don't worry if you already equipped it, the game is just trolling you, it will not unequip it or anything. So, now that we have access into that western cave, let us waste time no longer, and check it out. Welcome to the final dungeon. Chaos lurks somewhere within its walls, but we are only stopping in here to collect a spell for Archie. Speaking of Archie, I'd suggest you take her out of the active party for the moment. We have to fight a boss, and the way this boss attacks can cause it to hit Archie over 10 times in a row. The boss itself is the tidal wave spell, so you can use Salamander's rings if you want to make that a non-factor. But be advised that the boss will absorb shadow, as well as another randomly selected element. Don't worry though, because both the Origin Summon and Kless's Eternal Sword are both non-elemental. I advise you to teleport like crazy in this fight, the boss has a very nasty melee ability. You will have to fight clones of that boss a few more times throughout this dungeon, but for the moment, go ahead and stick Archie back into the active party. After all, we are here to claim a spell for her, and it happens to be the strongest spell she can collect. She can pick up another 2 spells in the bonus dungeon, but those are death spells, not damage spells. In addition, it's time for us to identify that question mark bow we collected from defeating Origin. Oh dear, wrong bow. Oh bloody hell, I am wasting rune bottles. Okay, there we go. The Soul Stealer is a shadow elemental bow, and it will consume 10 hit points from Chester every time he fires an arrow using it, and it only fires 1 arrow at a time, but it's stronger in raw power than the Elven bow. We can get a stronger bow from the bonus dungeon in due time, but until then, let us roll with the Soul Stealer. So, let us see about collecting that spell for Archie. The spell is hidden on the 2nd floor, and the stairs going up are this way, but there is a locked door blocking passage, so we will need to hunt down a switch that can unlock the bastard. A holy bottle and a sage from this room, and speaking of holy bottles, you might want to have one active as you do this. The only place in the game with tougher enemies is the bonus dungeon. A star shield from this room. The star shield is stronger than the shield we bought from the Aegis workshop, so equip it on Cliss immediately, but do bear in mind we will be getting a stronger shield before this installment is finished. Looks like the ninja have returned. They fight much like the ones in the ice cavern. Do not turn your back on these ninja, unless you want to be hammered by their hard-hitting backstab ability. Yep, same standard ninja diet of Twinkies. Throw this switch to unlock the door leading to the 2nd floor of the dungeon. Two new enemies here. The Komodo does not have paralyze or petrify or anything nasty like that, though they would absorb fire, and they are also immune to water. Cardinals are an absolute pain in the bum. They are vulnerable to thunder spells, but they have both resurrection and barrier, and they can even stun your entire party with the hammerhead spell. They only drop apple gummies, just to be pricks about it. Komodos drop jack shit. Better recover some TP, Kliss's new skills sure are expensive to use. There is a path to the left, but ignore it, it's not important yet. Head through the newly opened door to reach the 2nd floor of the dungeon. This floor is as far as we are going to go. You can tough things out and go even further for a one-of-a-kind accessory, the likes of which I've never seen in another RPG, but we are only here for the spell for Archie. Hello the Colored Undine, didn't we kick your ass when we fought Origin? Seraphim have the God Breath and Firestorm spells, but they take forever and a day to cast either, so just beat them down quickly. Sadly, they will not drop any loot. Okay, this is what we came to this dungeon for. This chest contains the Meteor Storm spell for Archie. Meteor Storm is just like Origin. Archie will smash the entire screen for enormous non-elemental damage. It's actually stronger than Origin, and about on par with the summon Claf will collect when we tackle the bonus dungeon. It's slow to cast and costs a fortune of mana, but a mystical rune and a fairy ring solve both those problems. We now want to leave, but this door has locked behind us, so we are forced to take the long way around this room. That's fine, I'll meteor storm the shit out of everything. Holy damage, Batman. Archie is best character. Anyway, these stellar archer type enemies. There is absolutely nothing interesting about them. They have no special attacks and cause no status effects. They also drop nothing. Worthless enemy. Well, apparently either they or the Komodos can drop apple gummies. Wonder which is that on its loot table. Anyway, a question mark armor and a rune bottle from this pair of chests. The question mark armor will transform into a set of armor stronger than what Class has equipped, but for some inexplicable reason it vanishes when you use a rune bottle on it in the DJ version. Or rather, it does if you don't already have a stronger set of armor. Massive pain in the bum. Thankfully, it's the only item in the game that suffers from this bug. Never mind though, we will get stronger armor from the bonus dungeon. Now that Chaos's castle has been unlocked, the final side quests of the game have become available. One of these is the bonus dungeon, which we will get to work on in the next installment. For now, we want to go treasure hunting for an absolute shitload of good shit. After we go treasure hunting, the Coliseum beckons. That place has beaten me once, and I have lost by default. I need to beat that place down before I go bonkers. After you unlock Chaos's castle with the Eternal Sword, a new NPC will appear in the tavern in Freeze Kill. Talk to this NPC and accept his quest. There are a ton of treasures up for grabs, but I will lead you only to the really good ones. From our starting point in Freeze Kill, mount your airbirds, and fly until you are hovering over the House of Morrison, southwest of the town of Miguel. From the House of Morrison, fly to the west. You will find a small section of beach separated from the mainland by a small mountain. Land on the sand. Check it out, it's a gathering of my most hated enemies in the game. Anyway, 6 chests in this area. You can collect a whale meat, a black onyx, an armlet, an elixir, a green torch, and the blue line shield. Never mind the whale meat, it's just a food item, and never mind the stuff you've seen already. Let's talk about the blue line shield and the green torch. The blue line shield is the strongest shield in the game, so you know what to do with it. The green torch is a strange item. We will be using it in the bonus dungeon, but its application is rather odd. You will see when we use it. Now for the next batch of treasure. From here, fly over to the cavern where we contracted with Gnome 150 years ago. Slightly northeast of Gnome's Cavern is a little island. Land on this island for the next round of spoils. This area is actually rather large, so you might fumble and fuck around looking for the damn treasure chests. Well, the sneaky developers placed them behind the trees in the center. You can see them clearly if I disable a graphical layer. From these chests, you can collect a mental ring, an elixir, and another item we haven't seen before. an accessory called the Dark Seal. The Dark Seal is a class-only accessory, which is a massive shame, and you will understand why once I finish explaining it. The Dark Seal works like this. Equipping it on Class will boost his experience gains from battles by 50%, but it will prevent him from using any of his techs. If you use a rune bottle on it, it will transform into a Demon Seal, which raises the experience boost from 50% to 100%, effectively doubling his experience gain. But not only are you unable to use techs, he is also unable to defend, having his ability to block cancelled out. You know who would do better with this accessory? Chester. If you could equip this thing on Chester, he'd become amazing really bloody fast. Alas, it is not to be. Goddamn developers. Enough bitching, let's resume our treasure hunt. You can reach the next destination by flying directly north from here. When you pass over Ari, take a look at the peninsula. You will notice a small section of grass at the end. Land on the grass. I know what you're thinking. They're behind the trees. No, they are not. The developers are trying to troll us. Why do you not believe me? I'll even prove it. You see, the chests are against the eastern wall. Two brand new items here. A blue candle and a sapphire. The blue candle will serve much the same function as the green torch we found earlier. I will put it to use in the bonus dungeon. As for the sapphire is a passive item that will do its job just by sitting in your inventory. It will bump up the experience gain for all characters, as well as all gold drops, by 10%. Sounds great, right? Use a rune bottle on it to transform it into a sapphire +1, which will increase gold and experience by 20%. Again, all you need to do to benefit from this thing is have it in your inventory. No equipping necessary. Next, fly to the southwest of Freeze Kill. One of these sections of grass houses the next batch of treasure. Apparently it's not this one. Three bits of treasure from here. A hyper gauntlet, a mental ring, and a whale meat. The only thing we are interested in is the hyper gauntlet. They are the best gloves for class in the game, so equip them immediately. Next, fly until you are hovering between the Moria Gallery and the Freeland Dock. You see how the water heads inland between the two locations I just gave? Follow that flow of water and you will bump into the mass of land with the next batch of loot. Land on the sand. Two chests here. One contains a whale meat, and the other a jade ring. You might think that's disappointing, but fear not. Head to the east end of the beach to find another chest hiding in the corner, and loot it for a soup pot. The soup pot needs some explanation. In the later versions of Tales of Phantasia, each character has the ability to cook, and this will affect the game in certain ways. In the original SNES title, the soup pot has only one use, but it has one heck of a use. We will be making extensive use of it before we attempt the bonus dungeon. You can take the soup pot as well as a bunch of ingredients to the ninja village, and you can then cook Oten. Not the country, the food. The bloody country is already cooking itself. Anyway, fly directly west from here. About halfway to the Elven Forest, you will find a tiny island with sand. There is only one chest here, but it is the true treasure the man spoke to us of. We will be giving this treasure item to the man waiting for us in Freeze Kill. This item is his mother's wedding dress. From this location, fly past the Moria Gallery. You should find yourself on the massive continent where the city of Midgard once stood proud. At the southeast end of the continent is a sandy peninsula. Land on the sand. A small army of chests in this area. 9 in total, each one containing a bottle of sake. I could have hit a bottle of sake already, if I had beaten Susu's parents in the coliseum, but I got my bum kicked so quickly that I have kind of blocked it from memory. Sake has 2 uses. You can either sell it for a fair chunk of gold, or you can use them in much the same way you would use an elixir. Only usable in battle. From here, fly northwest until you reach the forest where we met the unicorn. From the unicorn forest, fly ever so slightly north to find a beach. Land on the sand. Three chests in this area. An elixir from one, a gold helm from the second, and an S flag from the third. The gold helm is the best Chris helm in the game, so you know the drill, stick it on his head immediately. The S flag requires a little explanation. You can win 3 S flags if you travel to Alvanista and race the new and improved kid again. They're usable in battle, and will do the same thing as a life bottle, though they revive much faster, and they revive a character with much more health to work with. I will win them off screen before I tackle the bonus dungeon. We are almost done with our little treasure collectathon. From this beach, fly onto the overlooking plateau of snow, land on it, and make your way to the east side. 4 chests from this area. They contain an Ankogama, a question mark weapon, a pair of elven boots, and a jade ring. Let's start with the question mark weapon. Using a rune bottle on it will transform it into a lucky blade. It's a non-elemental sword for Kless, and it raises his luck to obscene levels, making it critical hit fairly often, but it's much less powerful than the Eternal Sword, so I'd suggest you just stick with the Eternal Sword. If you want to use it, knock yourself out. There is another question mark weapon you can find on this treasure hunt, but it's even weaker than the Lucky Blade, and doesn't even have a fancy effect like boosting one stat to ridiculous levels, so why it exists I have no idea. The Namco Gamer is a weapon for Klaf, and it happens to be the most powerful weapon he can equip. Odd that his most powerful weapon is a bloody magazine, considering a magazine is also his weakest weapon. Only one more treasure location we are going to pay a visit. Let me just fix up my party real quick. All sorted, let's get going. From this location, fly to the bridge that connects the Valhalla Plains to where Theos's castle was resting in the year 4202. South of the bridge, you will find a group of beaches. Land on the small one on the southwest. Six chests in this location. A red lantern from the first, a red line shield from the second, a pair of elven boots from the third, a question mark weapon from the fourth, an elixir from the fifth, and a cat's eye from the last. Let's talk about the question mark weapon we just collected. Using a rune bottle on it will transform it into a duelist's sword. The duelist's sword is earth elemental, just like the Muramasa, but it's weaker than the Muramasa, and it's even weaker than the Lucky Blade, not to mention the bloody Eternal Sword. I have absolutely no clue why it's here, it's just vendor bait despite having a really cool name. And it's not the only thing we picked up for Klus on this beach either. We also found the red line shield, which is not only weaker than the blue line shield, it's also weaker than the star shield we found in Theos's castle. Another item that I don't understand why it needs to exist at all, but whatever. That red lantern will come in useful in the bonus dungeon however. That's it for our treasure hunt. There are more treasures scattered about, but I got all of the one-of-a-kind items. Let us return to the man in Freeze Kill. We have a wedding dress to give to him. So, he got his mother's wedding dress, and is happy. We got a bunch of loot and are happy. Everybody is happy. What a terrific ending to that side quest. So, now armed with this upgraded gear, it's time for me to travel to the Coliseum. I owe it a bashing. Okay, Euclid Coliseum, your time has come. I would suggest you use the Eternal Sword for the Coliseum, even if you have one of the stronger weapons from the bonus dungeon when you come here. The reason for this is that the Eternal Sword is his strongest weapon with no element, and if you run into an enemy that can absorb your attacks in the Coliseum, you're kind of out of luck. Be sure to give Clis the proper immunities to paralyze and petrify, and as for skills, I'd strongly recommend teleport for its usefulness, and there's love for the healing. Focus is pretty good as well, if you can get a cast of it off. If you're feeling confident in your ability to fight, you can use a black onyx instead of a petrify or paralyze immunity item. It will help you out against the boss, but if you choose to do things this way, be cautious, especially of that bastard Gorgon in round 8. Once again the gods spread the cheats, to ram cock in fucking ass. My cock rage is on, my cock rage is on. If you aren't getting these references, go watch Spartacus. Anyway, Archie will shout out about us being a sex machine yet again, despite having fallen for Chester earlier in the installment. I will have Tom edit out rounds 1 through 7. But I will have him leave the fight against the bastard Gorgon intact. After you beat the Gorgon, if there are 0 ninja on the screen, you will be given the option to fight the boss. Don't panic if you have run out of TP, a nurse will heal you up right before the fight. The boss himself is like that boss we fought on the Valhalla plains and in the sky, but much tougher. Teleport will work wonders against him. Try not to run into the big fireballs he leaves, that shit can one-shot you. Take that, Coliseum, you could not escape me forever. Upon claiming victory against the boss in the Coliseum, the king will congratulate you, and will request that you join the army and fight against chaos using the military might of Euclid. The party will turn down the offer, wanting to beat up chaos themselves. The Queen will award you with the Swordsman's Book. This book will teach Clis the Lion's Teeth double art, a combination of lion heart and tiger teeth, and it's a shame you get it so late in the game, because its usefulness is on par with the mighty mecha blade. There are more prizes to be won from the Coliseum, the best of which is a pair of gloves for Chester, but they're such a minor upgrade that I am not going to bother beating the Coliseum another 6 times to win them. So, we got quite a lot accomplished in this installment. In the next installment, we are going to attempt the hardest place in the game. The bonus dungeon. The Lower Moria Gallery. It's going to be tough, but we are the champion of the Coliseum. We can surely take on whatever the dwarfs awoke in the darkness. So, I will wrap this video up. It's been a rather long one. This has been Edgar, and as always, thank you for your patronage.